the easiest way to not put wrinkles in it is to keep tension on it and to try to make the longest, smoothest passes that you can make. If you try to coil it like a snake, it's going to bunch up. So you'll kind of see as I go, the tape's going to tell you where you have to go. In some respects, you're not going to have much of a choice. Okay? So I'm going to come out here, and you can see how long my spiral is. I'm constantly pulling on it. You can already see that it's starting to squish stuff out. So if I'm up here, it doesn't matter if I do something ugly or twist the tape around or whatever, because this isn't part of aesthetically what I'm trying to cover.
Yeah, why go even up there?
Because I need to reset, because I'm actually deforming the tape. Yeah, so I took a pass out here, so I'm going to come up here so I can actually kind of deform the tape in the other direction to keep it smooth. It'll make sense when you have it in your hand. And I'm going to manage this through here. You don't have to be as careful as I'm being, but if you spend the time to try to do this neat and tidy, your bike will look better and you will have less finish work to do later.
So what if you went from there and then went around that, and there was a gap there, would that matter?
I have to go where the tape's going to make me go, because, so for example, let's say I wanted to go to this tube, see how it folded the tape in half?
Okay.
Like, I don't want that to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, because that tape is still smooth. I'm going to come up here, I'm going to come back down. You can see how it's making me take smooth passes, and I have like pretty good tension on this. You can see it's kind of spongy. The other reason you want to kind of separate it as you go and try not to like snake coil it in one pass is that right now the epoxy is squeezing out in between those layers that I haven't covered yet. And as I go over the layers of tape that I've already been to, now the tape wants to stick to itself, which means it doesn't want to slide, which is what you want. So now I come back over here, now it's, you know, as much tape as it is carbon fiber, and I can kind of manage this. It's going to stick to itself now. So this spot's all real nice and tight. It's all nice and overlapped. There's no messy, you know, ugly parts in there. I'm going to kind of manage this, come back around. I'm at the bottom bracket, so I got to go under the bottom bracket. That's just where it wants me to go. So I'm going to come back up this tube, and now I got mostly tape here. So now I can kind of snake coil it a little bit, make some good compression, and now I can think about, you know, trying to give it some direction of where I want to go next. So maybe I'm going to go under the bottom bracket and come up this way if that's where it wants me to go. Come back up the seat tube. You can see I'm literally like, I'm not making a specific plan about where I'm going. I'm just kind of taking the tape wherever it wants to travel relatively smooth. Now, if you put some wrinkles in it, it's not a big deal. It doesn't affect how it's going to ride. All it means is later, when all this is dry, you're going to have to come back with you know, some file or sandpaper and file down that little wrinkle spot so it's not in the finish work, right? But at the end of the day, structurally, we're still super strong, okay? So I'm going to leave this somewhere for you to work on it up here. Okay, so you can see I haven't covered everything. I've only done part of this one leg, right? But I have most of this joint covered, most of this joint covered, some of the bottom bracket. And you can see now how it's all oozing out of there because that tape is literally just slowly squeezing it shut, right? So that's your plan with the tape. Do not cut the end of the tape off when you're done. Pull it out and just let it hang in space. Because if you close the tail up and it gets epoxy over it, you'll never find it. And then you have to razor blade a whole entire roll of tape off of your bike, which I guarantee you will bum you out. After lunch, we're literally going to come back and just unravel it. Will take a couple of minutes. So that's the plan. Rusty, I'm going to give you this one. This is definitely one of those things that I made look easier than it's actually going to be. But if you just don't fight the tape and let it just kind of guide you, let the tape be your spirit guide for your carbon fiber. Try to cover everything as best you can. If you don't cover everything, it's okay.
The opposite side up.
Yeah, sticky side up, for sure. Okay.
All right, after stage 4.
Okay, so, oh, did you use the whole spool?
Yeah,
More or less?
I thought.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. Just curious.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I think
Don't know what the next step is.
this looks really good. I don't know if you need to do the last spool. Oh yeah, we got a little bit to fix right there. So we already have these 2 spools here. I think we'll just use them up because they're already wet.
Yep.
But like we want to get over this a little bit because that's roughed up bamboo.
Okay.
So we'll go. So the last one is just aesthetic. Now that you have all that stuff tacked down. So like this looks pretty even. You probably don't need to mess with it too much. This has a little, see how this is like not parallel with the tape?
Yeah.
So you can take a lap up there, get that edge square, you know.
Okay.
This one, you know, you can always manage with your fingernail usually too if you want to try to make them. I like to make them even, but it's up to you. You know, this stuff too, if you have anything floating over this, we're gonna, you know, these pieces are gonna come back out again, right? So
Yeah.
we can kind of push those uphill, push this stuff in. So I would just use up these two kind of little half spools that are left sitting here, and this epoxy, and then we're gonna dump all this stuff out when we leave for lunch, so
Yeah.
might as well try to use it up. Yeah, just finish up the edges.
So this is just an aesthetic.
It's all aesthetic, yeah. Structurally, it's totally sound, you're good to go.
Right.
We don't have to worry about anything else there.
So you're just, it's a maintaining the same spool, but just getting to where you want to clean it up.
Yep, just clean up all the edges, anything you think could be better.
Try and move all that.
Yeah, move this stuff in if you can, you know, because if it ends up out here, we're gonna cut it off.
Carbon cube.
Yeah. Whatever you gotta trim up, just do the trim work.
Carbon cubes.
Yeah.
So,
You know your students are gonna say that.
Yeah, exactly. Great, now I got that on video.
Just had to drop something real loud in the video like that. Yeah, so just try to use up both of those spools of carbon, because we're gonna throw them away anyways. So.
Alright.
But you went super around, huh?
Yeah,
Interesting technique.
yeah.
I would undo that. I think you're gonna be happier with it if you
Do you think I can?
don't cut the tape, just unravel it.
Okay.
I'll show you how we can fix it, it's not a big deal. But just unravel all that. Actually, this is what we'll do. Let me see this, when you cut this, okay. Just gonna unwrap all this.
It was like I did one earlier,
It's okay.
so I don't know how far. Oh, really go all the way back.
It's easier, this is less work now than it will be to fix it sanding later, so it's totally worth it. I kinda left you in the wind there for a second and I guess didn't.
can I use the excuse that's where the tape wanted to go?
That's exactly what happened.
That is where the tape wanted to go. You just had to manifest it a little bit different. So anytime we have, like if we have a crazy situation where we're just like, oh my god, like what am I gonna do? You
I have
still,
this one sticking over. Is that gonna be okay?
No, that's exactly what I.
oh, did you do the same
wrong.
thing?
Yeah.
That's
Don't
funny.
do that.
Nobody
No.
ever does that.
What?
So, if you have a situation where you have tape, but we definitely don't want to break the tape because we want to be able to find this later, you can literally just leave it up here. Because we want to come back to it and
So
know
we
for
can
sure.
unravel.
Yeah, so that we can find it. So,
Got
same thing for you, Rusty, like, if,
Well, I tried to
oh, you
fix
saved
it.
it, okay, you're good.
He didn't make a mistake as quickly as I did.
So this one's really about taking a pass, like if you go under the bottom bracket and like long spiral it,
Yeah.
that'll get you where you want to go, and then you can come back on the inside and kind of manage that wrinkle and then come back under the bottom bracket. Do the same thing again in a different spot. Sometimes you gotta go super low and sometimes you gotta go inside, sometimes you gotta go outside. Sometimes you gotta go to the top again. It's a really hard thing to do. I mean, nobody ever uses tape like this, so it's not like you're going to come in with a skill set and be like, oh, I've done this before.
That was good.
Yeah, you just got to, you can bend it, you know, you can manipulate it a little bit, but if you get too crazy, it'll put a bunch of big wrinkles in it, which again, is just cleanup work. It's not a problem structurally. It's not going to mess up your bike. Okay, see if we can use that one. Remember, tight is the name of the game though with the tape. You want to keep tension on it. If you leave it loose and pillowy, it's just going to turn into unuseful vinyl.
So if it starts to wrinkle like I did that, there's not.
If it
much
starts
you
to
can do
wrinkle,
to-
try to like put a little more tension on it. Try to
But
like
I don't want to cut it or anything.
no,
It's just-
no,
that's just
do
gonna
not
be-
cut it. No matter what you do, like you can always go somewhere, reset, start. See what I did with his tube? Like we messed up. I just took the tape up here and just wrapped it around it, even though it's kind of a mess, because we want to be able to find it later, and we don't want to have to look for the tail of anything. We are arguably ahead of schedule.
As soon as you say that, though.
Well, you'd have to mess up pretty catastrophically to change our day by 30 minutes. So. We usually don't make it for lunch until
Challenge
12:30.
Yeah, as soon as you say this is easy, and then I know I'm in trouble.
Yeah, that looks better. That looks a lot more even.
Oh, I didn't get that. So you didn't want to go there.
Seems still good.
So,
You can't get all of it. It's not possible to
so
cover.
is that
Okay.
okay? Do I leave you
Like where those
like that?
triangles are the
Is that
same
okay?
reason you can't get to those. Yep. Yeah, it's pretty tough to fill in all of it. We're just trying to create compression on all of the, the main tubes where we wrap stuff around.
And the compression.
Squeezes everything together, pushes out the extra epoxy, and creates a better bond, right? It's just like squeezing something around your arm tighter, like, it's like having a tighter glove on or a tighter shirt on. Like it's gonna be better. Better because it's tighter. And you don't have to use up the whole roll of tape either. I mean, if you get it covered and you're done, that's cool. But don't cut the roll. You just pull a bit of slack out and just leave it hanging in space underneath your bike.
Well, these between are.
Yep, it's tricky. It's hard to get smooth in there.
So I'm like, to me, I'm looking at it going, yeah, that's pretty good.
It's good. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine, but we can make it better.
Fine's usually a bad thing.
Yeah.
Fine. If your significant other says that, you know you're in trouble.
It's fine. You're like, good.
You're like,
I'm
okay,
done.
good.
I'm done with
Thanks.
that. I'm gonna do something else. Does help a little bit if you have your foot on the bike stand too, if you're pushing that hard. Keeps it from kind of waggling and tipping over on you. So the key to most of these materials is just managing them. Like if you're watching me do it, like I'm actually loading it over my finger to get it where I want it so that when I take my finger out it stays exactly where I started. So a lot of it is just, making it go where you want it to go so that it doesn't slide somewhere else. And this spot's usually pretty hard to get to. Usually I'm putting some wrinkles in it, but I do it anyways just so we get a good connection point down there in the bottom.
Yeah, so that hasn't been hit before, so it can bleed.
Yeah, there we go. Done.
Alright.
Perfect. Okay, here we go. So take off your outside pair of gloves, leave the other ones on.
Can I take off my gloves?
Yeah, you are all done. I do a triple check of where you may or may not have epoxy before we get in a car. It's not gonna be my car, but
Yeah, I think by the time the rental people find it.
they're like, what did you do in here? You're like, oh, I ran a bamboo workshop in the backseat of my car. Good problem. So I think you saw me do part of this. It's basically the same thing. You just want to try to make clean passes. But like in here, where you're gonna have a hard time fitting that roll in there, you might have to like put some slack in it, stretch it out, and then kind of manage it with your finger. If it wants to go up here, go up here, spiral back down. There's no method to it whatsoever. I mean, you're just trying to cover some stuff up. Like I said, don't snake coil it, because that stuff will bunch up. You really want to just try to take smooth passes.
Yeah.
So try to get as much as you can. And if you need to change directions, just come off of a tube somewhere up here so you can bend it and put another little more English in it. So
Alright,
cover as much as you can.
excellent, thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want anything else I can do?
Nope, that's it. We're coasting into the finish line at this point. What's the consensus on Burritos or sandwiches, I guess is really our choices since it's Sunday.
I'm easy.
Oh, you know what? I bet they're not open, but we can check. But Potbelly's is good. Did you ever go there? I like that place, alright. Almost made it the whole day. One drip.